Hey, welcome to a Smite 2 God Guide for Anhur, the Egyptian Slayer of Enemies. Anhur's key features are physical damage, strength scaling, having ranged auto attacks, high mobility, high lockdown. Moving on to Anhur's passive, Enfeeble. Dealing damage to enemies reduces their physical protections by 20. This debuff lasts 4 seconds. Every instance of damage refreshes this debuff. The instance of damage must come from Anhur. It cannot come from items or effects or anything like that. Or, for example, it does not work with Sunder. So the first auto attack deals 72 damage, and every auto attack after that deals 81 damage, unless I stop damaging him for 4 seconds.
Your middle tower is under attack.
And then damage him again, in which case it resets, and I do 72 again, and then 81. Like I said, the debuff is applied by any damage source, so my 2, my 3, even my ult, even just one tick of my ult. 81 damage. Then if we wait the 4 seconds, 72. Anhur's first ability, Shifting Sands. Summon an obelisk surrounded by shifting sands. Enemies in the sands are slowed and take additional damage from your basic attacks. The obelisk acts as a wall. The slow stacks with an additional slow when closer to the pillar. Reactivate to destroy the pillar early. It slows for 15%. The additional slow is 15%, so it slows up to 30%. Increases the damage taken from 8% leveling all the way up to 20%. Has a lifetime duration of 7.5 seconds. Has a cast range of 10.4 meters. Has a radius of 9.6 meters. Has a cost scaling from 40 all the way up to 80 meters. Has a base cooldown of 14 seconds. This is the targeter, which erects a pillar in the center. Enemies in the sand will be slowly pulled to the center. It does not work on this Ymir bot, but trust me, it works. It also increases the damage of auto attacks. I'm going to, for the purpose of showing this, already stack my passive on it. So my auto attacks do 81 damage. If I use my 1, now they do 97 damage. For the duration of my 1, back to 81. As the ability states, I can use the pillar and then use the ability again to make the pillar disappear, and it will immediately go on cooldown. Anhur's first ability, it's what allows him to gain control in an area around him. You can use it to control the enemy's ability to smack you. You can continue to run. Since they're slowed and pulled, it's very easy to run around a pillar on an enemy and keep them on the side where they can't hit you, and then you'd be able to hit them. The pillar also has the added effect of moving anybody that you use it on ever so slightly. Anhur's second ability, Impale. Throw a large spear, dealing physical damage in a line. The first god hit is pushed. If the god hits a wall, they are stunned. The projectile passes through and damages minions, but stops on walls. The enemy god displaced by this ability deals damage to enemies it collides with. It deals 105 damage, scaling all the way to 365 damage, with an 80% strength scaling or 75% strength scaling, depending on which part of the ability tooltip you're reading. The stun duration increases per level. This is the ability you will be leveling first on Anhur. 9.9 times out of 10. The stun duration goes from 0.9 seconds to 1.1 seconds, so it's not much, but it does increase. The range of the ability is 8.8 meters. It has a radius of 0.48 meters. It has a base cooldown of 12 seconds and a cost of 50, scaling up to 90. As the ability states, If you hit an enemy, it will push them back. If you push an enemy into a wall, it will stun the enemy. A quick synergy with your 1 is that your 1 acting as a wall means that you can use it to stun enemies into it. If the person you hit with your 2 goes through an enemy, it will deal damage to both enemies. However, it will only CC the initial enemy that it hits. So, if you take both enemies to a wall, and you push both of them into a wall, into the exact same spot, only one Ymir bot will ever be CC'd. No matter if you hit both at the same time, only one will be CC'd. Only one will be knocked back, only one will hit the wall, only one will be stunned. But both will take damage. Anhur's third ability is Disperse. Leap forward, dealing physical damage where you land. Knock back all enemies from your landing point. Enemies are displaced up and away from your landing location. Deals 70, scaling up to 230 damage, and has 60% strength scaling. Has a cast range of 8.8 meters, has a landing radius of 2.4 meters, has a cooldown of 15, scaling down to 13 seconds, and has a cost starting at 40, scaling up to 80. As the ability states, it is a leap, meaning that it can be buffered from CC. CC buffering is the ability to have abilities go off when you are CC'd. If, for example, Athena CC'd me, and right before she CC'd me, I jumped, my jump will go off even if she does taunt me. If I jump away from her, I will jump to my landing location and then be CC'd to her. If I were to jump on this Ymir, the correlation of where he is to the center of my leap landing location is where he would go. So if I jump past him, he will fly backwards. If I continue to make him in front of the circle that I land on, he will continue to go forward. If I jump to his left, he will go to the right. If I jump to his right, he will go to the left. Another thing you might notice is that while jumping, I can move my camera freely. This doesn't affect the jump in any way, but it does allow you to look around while midair and perform cool stunts like a 360 snap, like the worst 360 no scope you've ever seen. Like the worst 360 no scope you've ever seen. This also lets you position the enemy for pillar stuns or wall stuns. You can push him closer to the wall and then pillar him to the wall. He didn't get stunned because Ymir bot in practice, but trust me, it works. Midair, smack him, and he's against the wall and stunned. Perfect. You can also use it to help yourself position for a pillar stun. Arguably the coolest thing that you can do with Anhur. You're going to jump, pillar, smack him into it, and then ult. Moving on towards the ult, Anhur's ultimate ability, Desert Fury, hurls series of empowered spears, each dealing physical damage. The final spear deals a burst of damage. These spears pass through everything, and you are CC immune while using this ability. The ability fires 4 times plus the final projectile over 1.5 seconds. These projectiles pass through and damage all enemies and pass through walls. The initial 4 small ticks deal 65, scaling up to 165 damage, plus 45% strength scaling. The final burst damage deals 110, scaling up to 290 base damage, plus a 90% strength scaling. The ability has a 12.8 meter range, has a radius of 0.56, so slightly larger than auto attacks. The final attack has an even larger radius at 0.72, has a cooldown starting at 90, scaling down to 70 seconds, and has a cost of 80 going up to 100. As the ability states, you deal 4 small spears and then 1 large one after a small delay, all in 2.5 seconds. You are CC immune during the duration, meaning that nothing can stop you and you can use the ability to get out of, for example, Ymir freeze if he were to be so kind, but he's not, so he won't. Other than providing you CC immunity, this is a very straightforward ability that deals 4 ticks of damage and then a large tick. It is important to note that if you don't have your passive stacked on the enemy before you use the ability, only the first strike of the ultimate will suffer, as the first strike will apply enfeeble on the enemy. So every successful attack afterward will have the enfeeble effect applied onto it. This ability is normally used for safety so that you can prevent big CC abilities, for example Ares ult, from pulling you. It is very easy to CC immune large crowd control abilities like that, or always to snipe an enemy. I say as I miss. Anhur is a very straightforward character. His kit seems a little intimidating at first because of the pillar stun. It's a pretty small margin, you know, it's easy to miss the pillar stun. I know everybody's gonna act like it's the easiest thing in the world. It's kind of hard to hit a pillar stun, okay? Especially if you're on console or something. Very understandable that pillar stuns can be intimidating. However, it's not something that you need to try to freehand all the time, since you can, like I said, you can jump. See, I missed it. Look at that. Judge me. Go ahead, judge me. You can jump and try to use the jump to help you position for the stun. You can always aim for walls. Walls are plenty. And then you can just use the pillar to keep him near the wall for a while, instead of trying to get the pillar stun all the time. Of course, if you can get the pillar stun, it is good, but it is no longer important to get the pillar up before you too, since the pillar only increases auto attack damage and not 2 damage. That will deal 242 no matter what. It is, however, important to try to get enfeeble on the enemy before you combo them. So if you can hit an auto attack and then jump in, that would be much better. So remember, try to keep your dash in cases of needing to evacuate. Your 1 is a slow and the wall, so use that to your advantage. If an enemy is chasing you, remember to throw up your pillar and stun them to your pillar if you can. Dash away, and if they crowd control you, use your ultimate to get away. Or better yet, jump in, stun them against the wall, pillar, and then use your ultimate to murder them. Alright, so that was a look at Anhur's kit, taking a general overview of Anhur's kit. Now that we've gone over the kit, let's talk about what you should be building on Anhur. I am not in the business of giving you every single item you need and the best builds possible, okay? Because the best build possible is going to be very specific and determined by who you're fighting, when you're fighting them, and what's going on, okay? What the team needs, what's going on. So this is going to be a cookie cutter build that can work in basically any game. Oof, let me rearrange these. This is going to work in any game, all right? No matter the game mode you're playing, this is going to work for you. It's not the best build. It may not even necessarily be a good build, but all of these items will be doing good things for you. And if you're just starting, this will be better than the auto builds. This will be better than the auto build option. It won't be better than going to a pro and watching them play a few games and seeing the items that they build. But this will get you started. If you want to build something and forget about it, this will get you started. All right, so we're gonna start with Bloodforge and Hunter's Cowl. Bloodforge will be your one active item that will give you parity to Smite 1. Since Smite 2 only has one relic, now you'll have one relic and one active item. I recommend that you get used to using active items and that you expand to having more than one active item in your build. Because ideally, second item here, you would probably want to go Dagger of Frenzy so that you could pop it after you use your 3. But if you don't want to be heavy on active items, we'll just skip that. Okay, we'll just build. We can build Kin's next item. We could build, you know what? We're gonna build Brawler's Ruin next item. Since there is a lot of healing in the game right now, you can't go wrong with this item. We're gonna build Brawler's Ruin, then we're gonna build the Executioner. If it'll let me buy it. There we go. We'll buy the Executioner, then we'll buy the Reaper, Hastened Fatalis, and then we'll finish off with a Titan's Bane. And that build will work for you just about anywhere. If you want to expand, you know, you want to try and switch things out, this is a situational item, this is a luxury item. You could switch these two if you need penetration. I would almost always go Executioner. If not third item, then second item. You probably don't want to wait. If you want to go absolutely zero active items because for whatever reason you hate fun, then you could go Devos, even though I think Devos is a trash item right now. You could do it, it's fine, you will survive. Let's see, I have 2300. How many auto attacks does it take us to kill ourselves? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 autos. And we do 829 damage per second. So it would take us, what, 3-4 seconds? In our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 autos. That brought it down by 2. And that's not without using any abilities, right? If we could jump pillar stun, that was much faster. So that's a build that will work for you. You won't be trolling if you build this, okay? It's not the best build ever, but you won't be absolutely trolling your team. At least you'll do damage. You have the stats that you need. You will be fine if you build this. This has been my Anhur guide for Smite 2. Hope you all enjoyed. If there's anything I missed, if there's any secret combos that I missed or anything like that, any tips and tricks that can be shared, please leave them in the comments below. Be sure to tell me how I know nothing about Anhur. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.
You are my friend. I don't heal.